I can't take it seriously. That's the problem.
Yes, there's a lot. That's just you get everybody already. I was watching it just like
They interviewed Sam. Like I said, there's a process.
oh, yes. Yeah, so if it's numbers.
You disclose where or nothing.
So you think forever.
I know I'm trouble some students. Oh, here. Oh, it's warming up.
There you go. See that? I just had to look at it, give it the evil eye. There we go. Oh, come on.
Yeah, I do.
All right, why don't we get started? Welcome back.
Yay.
Yay! We all had a good week off? Excellent. I just learned something valuable on my reading week, which is as an instructor, there's no such thing as reading week. So unfortunately, yeah, I was pretty solid all week long. And from the looks of some of your emails, I'd say you guys were pretty solid too. Some of you were a little frustrated with the assignment, and some of you did a really great job. So any comments on the assignment before we start?
I just hate how you gotta try and search and find your studio. And so that says you guys are not
I'm going to solve that for you. I'm going to solve it for you today. Yeah. You watch.
One thing I noticed is creating the form.
Yeah.
You want to assign a color.
Yeah.
A different typeface for the object. Is it better to do it in the properties menu or it's the art mode?
Well, okay, it depends. Okay, because if you're looking, say for example, when you push the submit button to have an action happen, such as changing the color of the font, then you should do it in the code. But if you're just looking at it and looking for it to start in your application itself, you could do it in properties as well. Now, one of the things that I noticed, and I keep reiterating this to you guys, and there's a reason I'm reiterating it to you. I was once where you are, and I will never give you an assignment where I haven't taught you what you need to do. Yes, I might give you the whole idea of an intro course. I give you the fundamentals. I'll give you the fundamentals, and it's up to you guys to add to that. And like I said at the start of the semester, we're going to go so far, and then you guys have to practice. on your off time. And I know off time between part-time jobs, courses, gen ed, comms, which everyone feels we really don't need, but you really do. All these courses that you have, you really don't have time to practice, but I highly, highly recommend it. And the other thing I'm going to say to you is there's going to be an aha moment in the next 2 years with you. I guarantee it, where you go, I get that now. I understand what that means, what it means to call a method. I get what an array is, or whatever the case is that you're stumbling over. I almost promise you it's going to happen as long as you practice. So like I say, in the assignments, when I'm asking for something, if you're overthinking it, it's going to be really complicated. And yes, you'll get the job done, but I'm not looking for Microsoft at this point. I'm looking, well, I'd be looking for OS, not Microsoft. Let's be honest, I want the code to work. Anyhow, so I'm not looking for something where you guys are writing code as if you've been doing it your entire life. It's an intro course. So I'm going to go over some stuff today. I'm going to give you a review. We're in the last half of the first semester. So you guys are on the hill down for semester number 1. We're going to pick up speed a little bit. And now this is where I'm going to turn to you guys and ask you, beg you, plead with you. If you're stuck, send me a list of your questions and we'll set up a time where we can sit down. Okay? And I'll go over it with you. There's students in this class that are not really intro students. They've been doing a lot of it. They've got a real strong grasp on it. Reach out to other students as well. One thing that I'm going to suggest that you try to avoid is going on the internet too much, because what's going to happen is it's going to confuse you. Because when you say, well, okay, so how do I convert a grade to like an average to a grade? You're going to get about 17 different versions of what you should do. And what these people are up here, and all you need to do is think here, because I'm not going to take you from here to here without teaching you it. All right? So that all being said, so today we're going to go over some important dates for the rest of the semester. We're going to go over the assignments. I'm going to do a review, and we're going to connect to GIT Hub. I'm not going to do the list boxes today. Because I think that this is a pretty solid class with review. There's going to be a lot of in-class work. And going forward, there's going to be a lot of hands-on stuff. So I'm going to be backing way off on my lecture and focusing more on getting you guys in front of the keyboard. Any questions so far? No? Okay. Okay, so in-class assignments, from this point forward, we're going to be doing them virtually every week. All right? Now, they are going to be a significant building block for you going forward. So I'm going to highly recommend that you show up to class, because if you're not in class and you say, oh, well, I had to work, or I slept in, or whatever the case is, and you miss it in class, you miss it in class. It's worth 2% each time that you miss it. So from this point, for the rest of the semester, we have or the lab work, okay? So each week we're going to be working a lot more on that. Now also on Blackboard, there is a faculty survey. Fill out the faculty survey if you like. I'll give you an opportunity to do it now. I'll leave the room and you guys can have an opportunity to log into Blackboard and fill it out. It's important. You know, I'm trying to give you the best course possible, so if you guys want to tell me what you think, be gentle. I'm prone to crying. Okay, I'm going to leave, give you guys about 5 minutes. It's on Blackboard under faculty survey. And I'm not even, yeah, absolutely. Well, are you done the survey already?
Yeah, I did it.
All right, well then why don't we come out and talk? So I'm going to give you about 5 minutes, okay, guys? So it's on Blackboard.
Yeah, we got to order your name though too.
It's under the course.
Yeah.
Under the course. Yeah.
More this, less this. Like issue on the list. Okay, sorry, so you know, can we sign them? Yeah. Yes. That's why I asked. That's why I sent you. I see the. Yeah. But HTML is good. Yeah, let's code, man. I don't want to be yes, no, and I think we're gonna get EJS. And you've done the assignment? Yeah, it's due. Yeah, so I did that. I was saying that I want to get more into the JavaScript behind it. And then we can go on it. Oh, really? Yeah.
I didn't spend much time on what I finished. I done it. I had like 4 hours. Or
Yeah, so this is
yeah,
my
I
website.
was something. They used the form from the WhatsApp.
Yeah, I did. You never knew, nothing's new, right? You use basic stuff, right? But I added this. I added this.
I knew it was
Yeah, so.
here's my website.
Okay, cool. So I did those emails, so I did meetings. Yeah, yeah. I just didn't do too much, like, I think if you show them one thing, right, so I did this, I did just that, I did a drop down, and then I did here, right, left. So, push requests. So, just, oh, yeah. That's my, that would be just, yeah.
Are we good, or do you need a couple more minutes? Good? Okay. Well, if Emma says we're good, we're good. We're ready to go. Okay, thank you very much for taking the time to do the survey. Like I say, it's going to help build towards a better course, I think, as well as if there's something that you have questions about. This is something else that that I've stressed all along is if you do have questions, I am accessible via email at all times. Sometimes I'm too accessible because at 11 o'clock at night, I'm pounding out emails to students because I know what it's like to be sitting in front of a keyboard going, I just want the answer. I just need the answer, and not having it at your fingertips. So I do answer emails continually. So, but if you send me an email at 2 o'clock in the morning and I haven't replied to you by 30, well, okay, it's not going to happen. But certainly I don't mind replying on a weekend or whatever the case is. Okay, so the assignments themselves will be marked by next week. Wow, this is really going fun. Okay, so all in all, so far, from what I've seen, they're pretty good. I'm impressed with the way that the forms are looking and the way you've got everything structured. I am still a little bit concerned about the pseudocode, and I'm not going to go over pseudocode too much in class, but we are going to continue to build it. I'm not going to give formal lectures on how to do pseudocode at this point. I think at week 7, you should have an understanding. If not, book an appointment with me and we'll go over it one more time, no problem. Okay. Comments in code. I can't stress this enough. You've got to comment your code. If you just put something like creating a variable, well, okay, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. So be descriptive, because I can't, again, I can't stress this enough, where 6 weeks from now, when you're looking at your code, or here's going to be a fun exercise. On this assignment, lock it away somewhere. And then in the final week of second year, go back to it and have a look at the code.
No.
Well, okay.
Sorry.
You will be afraid, but what you're going to find is you're going to go, wow, that was so straightforward. Or, and I'm not belittling where you are right now. So I'm just saying that you're going to go, wow, okay, this is how far I've come. But if you don't comment the code, you won't know what you were thinking. So you're going to go, and that's going to be the first thing you look at, because I've done that exercise where I look and go, what was I thinking? So put down the comments in the code. Tell me what you're thinking, so that way we can go over it together. And if I'm marking your assignment and say, for example, in your comment, you're going, well, I'm looking to build an array of whatever, and really it doesn't call for an array, I can sit down and say, okay, this is why you had a real hard time with your assignment, or this is why it didn't work. So let me into your mind a little bit through the comments as well, because you really will appreciate it. And like I say, that's a really neat exercise. I think you'd enjoy it once. I know you're hesitant right now, Nick, but you're good. No, but if you want to feel really, really, really good about how far you've come, do that exercise.
Hey, look, I'm already having something.
There you go. And I am not pushing this button, and it keeps flitting back and forth. Okay, so then the final assignment. Now, I have a few ideas for the final assignment. I try to make the assignments fun. And I know everyone's looking at me going, yeah, fun. That was really fun. I try to make them fun. I try to make them interesting, and I try to give it some real life application. So the next assignment, like I said earlier in the class, is going to be based on what we've talked about in class. All right. If you're thinking something beyond, you're overthinking it. But the other thing is, though, I will ask you, for those of you who are a little bit more advanced or want to learn a little bit more, say, for example, you go, you know what, I'm kind of bored with just if statements. Well, look at switch statements. See what happens there, or go along that line. So I'm going to encourage you to do a little self-exploration on the internet, or learn some new stuff, implement it into the application. You're free to do that for bonus marks. But as long as you go over your syllabus, you will be fine. I promise you that. Make sure that you go, okay, have I demonstrated this? Yes. Is my comments there? Yeah. Okay. Have I commented enough? Yes. And I can't pre-market any assignments, but certainly if you want to sit down and say, okay, can you just have a quick look, because my code isn't functioning here, I'm more than okay with that. If you want to talk about the comments in your code, because it's an intro course, I will go over the comments with the code of your code as well, just to say, hey, you know what? I'm not understanding what you're thinking. And then at least you can go away and go, I need to add more code or comment, sorry. All right. And I can't stress enough, if you're thinking the assignment's bigger than what we've learned in class, you're really, really overthinking. Okay. All right. So let's get our fingers nimble. Go into Visual Studio, and we're going to create a program as a review. And it's going to be a basic one where you're going to prompt the user to enter their name in a text box. And then you're going to prompt the user to enter the year in which they were born. Then you're going to create a separate method, and you're going to call that method. You're going to create a separate method that will receive the birth year as an int 32. And you're going to return their age also as an int 32, based on it being 2018. Once the submit button is selected, you're going to display hello and the person's name. You are blank years old based on your calculation. All right. So think about that for a couple seconds. Don't forget to comment the code and start writing. And then I will give you about 15 minutes or so. if you find that you're already done early, implement some new aspects of it. That's great. Or if somebody's stuck, you know, give them a hand as well. All right. Easy peasy. Excellent. All right. We're just reviewing the first, what we've already learned in the first half. Yeah, I'm going to put it back up. I'm just switching applications. Longest part of this assignment is getting.
Could you put that up on Blackboard, just because I forgot my box?
Can I put it up on Blackboard?
Yeah, but I was gonna say.
No, I know you're right. So,
Yeah.
I should be missing.
Actually.
Oh, is there?
Week 7.
Hi.
No, but yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I have
Alright.
Yeah, enter your name and your.
No, yeah, so you can set up names together.
Oh,
Okay, it should be up on Blackboard now under weekly learning.
Thank you.
No problem. Just remind me when the next one, we're going to do this one. In there.
So the method, the method passes in the year. You calculate and return the value. So you're choosing. Yeah, so when I press the button, I'm gonna constantly
Press on submit.
pass it into the function. It's gonna return it. It's gonna return the magnitude value to the column.
Nope. Seven. Oh, right.
Wow, oh, you already said. Oh, no. You have the hormone all set up. You look stuck.
No, you know how you have those moments once in a while in life where maybe you know what you're doing, you know what's in your brain goes,
It's called old age.
thank you, I do agree.
Did you not make it live? That's okay, like,
On Blackboard, should be live.
yeah. Is it in week 7?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
Find it?
fine. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Trying to go back.
Oh, big bird.
Yeah. Show. Really?
Okay, but you're missing one very significant piece of your form. What do you think that would be? What will trigger everything that you're doing?
Oh, you can still do it. Oh, this is good.
Yeah. So set that up, and that's where you really action will be called again.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Now, I draw your attention to the separate method part as well. Trying to create it in a separate method. I'll put the instructions back up in a second. Okay, so if you're looking for an example, you just type in Keith. I'll put my real year of birth, 1990, and calculate, and it returns that. All right, so that's basically how your form should work. I didn't know it was 28 either.
Legal, I just call it legal age. There's something that's descriptive for you. So you know what you're doing. Start with that. So it is distracting.
Are you making a?
Oh, okay. Just like you said, it's close.
Good morning.
It doesn't matter. It's all good.
Whoops, sorry.
You want us to submit this anywhere?
No, we're going to go over it in class. It's more of just getting back into speed.
So, glad we're going over this in class, Steve.
All right.
Not even gonna lie.
Okay, how many, couple more minutes or? Yeah, okay.
Thank you. So I gotta work without the method, but then with the method, you have like pass like percentages, pass all through,
I got an error.
right? So how should it? So that should like the two. But then if I do that, then I have to pass it. Right?
You're overthinking a little bit. And that's what they'll do. Sometimes Google isn't different because they.
I'm just thinking of Java right now.
Oh, don't.
It's
Java's not our friend. Java's not my friend, so it won't be your best friend. All right, so basically what we
Yeah, so doing the positive feeling, so this and then I told us.
explain.
Oh, okay.
So you do all the calculations. Yeah, so how it answer your ways. That's called the officer. So anything that you hear, is the call. That's
Okay, so I can have everything else like in the.
everything else in time.
Okay.
All right, awesome.
Big time now. Minus. Big time.
Oh,
Now it's days here.
So now, what was the first thing that?
Wow, right there?
Destroying the place.
Oh my gosh.
A little bit of spatial work.
Okay, no, now, first instruction is.
Yeah, I did it. You can do whatever you want, right? You put two cartoons on that thing right inside. I just did it separate.
Okay, so. That's what's going to be in here. So I said, so here, in here, you just use this box. Whatever you want to string out. It doesn't, not declare it. Whatever name you're going to call. Okay, and then put down your brackets. Open and close.
I'm using new barrels.
Yeah.
So you can say,
Not in the bracket.
because
Yeah, it's going to say,
you have to set
don't have it. So then underneath. Okay, so in between these, actually, I would just follow.
press the button and it passes through to the conversion of the subtract your just
Yeah, don't delete it. There. Perfect. So now what you can do is now you can create a method of the site, just write the phrase. And then that's where this is a method. It's similar things. So that should be easier to take with, and then open and close brackets. And then you're your braces. Right? So formatted exactly what you're seeing there, except you're not putting anything in the parameters.
So private void, nothing, they know what.
No parameters. All right, you good?
Yeah. When are you going to? You do want to do it?
Yeah, but this was the final assignment. It's going to be basically a combination of everything. So if I go.
I just.
No, but if yeah, exactly. So probably
I just like to plan my time. Okay.
So I'd like to give you about 3 or 4.
Oh, it's only about 3. I'm trying to plan my time.
Oh, absolutely.
I got 7 hours.
Here you go. Now you're. Oh, yeah, but the.
Remember I said I
charge,
wanted the marks.
yeah, and that's right too. That's actually great. Sales at PLA.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't have the marks to prove it, so it's a good strategy.
Yes.
Okay, so the only thing I'm really confused about is how is it the output, like, I don't know, did I do this sign right? Like,
Yeah, it was kind of where I was stuck too. I have it
You gotta
just
subtract,
displaying age, but I don't know how to make it.
you gotta subtract your birth year from
Name,
today. From, okay,
you are,
right, so you
So
subtract.
it looks like you
So
don't
you subtract. It's good years, so you're born 1970. That's your, that's your input.
it's saying that
Well,
this-
you got your gray hair. Yeah, but.
Okay, so let's first focus on your rates.
Right here.
So it's.
So I converted the input text
That's
here.
They're,
From 1970.
they're.
I converted it.
They're-
Text.
yeah. So I have it, okay, so I have it so that my output.
So this is my function.
Okay.
And I pass in my year
So I started there.
into my functional area.
Now I'm going in.
You have to have something. He asked you to, in the, I asked you to create a separate function. Right. Yeah. Create a separate method to calculate.
When I tried not doing that, it barked at me. And then I was like,
Just putting 2000.
yeah, it barked at me.
Really?
Yeah,
Like in your actual calculation?
yeah, it barked at me.
Have a look, because that's how we're gonna do it in class. So watch what we do.
No, I know.
There we go, okay, so what else?
Like, I'm,
So what you've done, that's what I'm. Say a string, but it's already set up as an image.
no, that's,
Image convert or CO. So that's your converted to string. And then you build a person.
Oh, okay, so,
Okay, so go into your, and go, after the equals go.
oh, there you go.
Your age is. And then equal strings, and then you put a plus. Like that whole conversation. Put it in the parentheses. Yeah, that will- Now try that. This is so much faster than mine. It won't be straight. Okay. Okay, perfect. So we're on our way now. So now what we have to do is scale your name as well. So following the same path. So whatever you so now you got to trade for your name. And you don't have to. Exactly. So then.
If you don't, put that variables in there and don't set it to something, gives you an error, just telling you that not assigned. So I was, it is nothing, but I was assigned so that it doesn't give them errors. I was put a value in there, wondering if there are any variables. Whether it's a code or text or zero, like, I was really
It is there, okay, so then.
into your name.
Oh, yeah, I heard about.
Oh, this is, so when I build my forms, I always put a letter in my label, so I know what it is. But you don't want that showing when the forms are.
Same format.
So I always, when the form loads, I clear that value so that the user doesn't see it. But it's there when I'm designing.
So, no, you've just, okay, so you've recreated that, you want to call it DOB.
Did you get 32 my age is equal to the current year minus the invoice year, your birth year.
And that's the only part
And then you
so that we calculate it.
in this text.
And now we're gonna go through the code now. Okay, why don't we take this up so that we can work through it together. Okay, so what I've done is for expediency, because sometimes the longest process is building the form. I've already created the form. So that's the form. Now I've already created the method for the button click. So in the method for the button click, what did I ask you to do? On click, yeah. Okay, but before before we can convert, what did I ask?
Get the person's name.
Okay, before we get, okay, yeah, so that's all part of the process, but add comments, call the method. Okay, so we're gonna call the method, let's call it calculate, for mine at least. So now, for some of you, this is gonna look a little different. Shannon, you created yours all in the button click?
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're creating a separate method to do that. Okay, so watch what we're doing there, because what you did was right, but now we're adding an extra step.
Okay.
All right, so we're going calculate, and then the semicolon. Now it's barking at me. Why is it barking?
Because, yeah.
Exactly. So I haven't created the method yet, so let's do that next. We're going private, void, and then we're going to create calculate. And now you notice it's no longer barking. So what we've done is we've created a situation where once I click my button, submit, it's calling the method calculate. All right, so this is the only line of code that's going to be in the button click method, okay? Everyone follow along, and does that make sense? Okay. So why would we do this? Why wouldn't we just build it all into the same thing? Yeah.
You can call it anytime you want just by putting calculation.
Yep.
With brackets.
Absolutely.
It's expediency.
It's expediency, it's cleaner, because the other thing is, say for example, we want to change the form color, we can create a separate method for that now by saying form color change. And then we can call that one out as well. So we would have, say, calculate and then form color change. And what we're doing is we're also making it a little bit easier to isolate errors. Okay? Okay, so now we're going to add the comments. So what do we want this thing to do? What's the first thing?
Do you want to prompt user, are we doing all that or just
Yep.
converting to?
No, let's start with declaring the variables first, and then we'll go there. So we'll declare the variables. Okay. Now we're going to do what? Prompt the user. Okay. What else? And then we're going to do the conversion. Now, here's a question for you though. Do we need to put the comments in the code to prompt the user to enter their name and year of birth if we've already got it on the form?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, so what are we going to put underneath that comment? Are we going to put anything, or is it just to keep us on track?
So in message boxes.
Okay, but don't forget, we've already got it up here. So say, for example, enter the year you were born. So we're not going to put any method there. However, what we could do is receive the input under there. Okay, so we'll keep the comment in. I think it's just the wording is probably just a little skewed because we're not prompting them, we're just accepting it. Okay, so we've got that so far. All right, so conversion, and then we're going to do a calculate. All right.
Can I capital the C or calculate?
Yeah, you can. These are comments, so you can format them.
Like
Yeah. As long as you're consistent. If you put a capital C there, make sure that your capital C there.
like for variables, I will use case.
Yeah.
But for this method, I will use
That's absolutely fine because that helps you organize everything. All right. But like I say, be consistent though. Don't put the lowercase in one area and then an uppercase in another because it's going to say I can't find it. Okay, because it is case sensitive. Okay, so the variables are that we're going to declare. Now here's where it gets more interesting. So what type of variables do we need immediately? What variables do we need to declare? Name. Okay, so what type of variable will that be? String, right. So we're going to go string name, and that equals. All right, so now I called my text box txt name, not text. Okay, so we've declared the name. Now, what's the other ones that we're going to need? Yeah.
Birth year.
Birth year. So I've put, actually, I noticed another person put YOB, and I thought, oh, that's kind of odd. But then I realized that that's more accurate than what I had put down for my variable because I put down DOB. So it's year of birth. So however you want to call it, I'm still going to call it, I'm going to call it YOB for year of birth. And then what we can do is we can take that right now and convert to int 32. And then in parentheses, we're going to put my text box of year. Okay, everyone following along with that so far? Yeah.
what difference between the integer 32 and integer?
It's just more information. So the int 32 is just it gives you more information than an integer does.
Because I usually saw that like ENT
Yeah.
will end ENT 32 with ENT 16 and 62 as well.
Yeah, so it's just the type of variable that you've got. So for the exercise that we're doing, we're just asking for it to be an int 32. All right. So everyone follow along so far with what we've done? Make sense? Yes.
Is there a difference between the convert to int and int parse?
No, not really. But we've been going with the convert to. So I'm going to stick with that. And I know that some of you have actually put the parsing comments in there, and that's perfectly acceptable, or not comments, but the code in there, and that's perfectly acceptable. The bottom line, if your code works, that's the significant part. A student in one of my classes has my favorite sticker, and it's some days my code works and I don't know why. So anyhow, but as long as it's working, that's the important part, but it convert or parse is fine. All right, so the next step is we want to calculate the age. So we're going to go int 32, and I'm going to call this the age. Now, how do we make this calculation? Yeah. So we're just going to hard code the year. Now, I heard Stephen talking about doing the doing automatic lookups for the year and whatnot. Was that yeah?
Yeah.
So because this is like that's way above our pay grade at this stage. So because it's an intro course, we're just gonna hard code it in as 2018. Make it easier. Okay. So 2018, and we're going to minus the year of birth. Okay. Then what's the next step? So we've got the calculation for the age. We've accepted the name. So now what do we have to do? Do we have to display, or is there a step before that? Now there's a way that we can either combine the next step or go right, like we can either go right to the display and include the convert statement in there, or we can convert it separately. Okay, so for the purpose of today, what we're going to do is we're just going to go string, and I'm going to call it age calc equals, and then we're going to do the convert statement. And now this time, are we converting it to string to int 32 or to string? String, because we're going to be displaying it. And we're going to put the age. All right, so we've set up the variables. I've kind of decimated our comments by just by doing the calculations in there. So I'm going to take it out and put it in the appropriate comment section. So this was the year. Now here's something I just moved. All I did was I moved this line of code from here to there, and now it's barking at me. Why is it barking? I just moved the line of code.
We call it variable before it's declared.
Exactly. Okay, so we called it before it was declared. So what we want to do now is move this next line of code, and we're going to put that in the calculate, and now it's happy again. Is everyone following along?
Kind of.
And now what we're going to do is we're going to take, and again, you see this string, I'm going to take that out as well, because like I said, I pounded out the code and then I realized I destroyed our comments. So let's put that in the convert. Okay, so what we've set up now, actually I can't do this way. Okay, so I've set it up so that it's prompting the user, or at least accepting the user's year of birth, converting it to int32 based on the text box. Then we're going to calculate the age, which is equal to the year, which is 2018, minus the year of birth. Then we're going to convert the age into a string. So what's the last step that we've got to do now? Create the output. Okay. So now my label is LBL output. whatever your output label is, put that in there. Dot text. And that equals. Now, here's an interesting one. So now we want to put the person's name. You are blank years old. How do we do that based on what we've created? Shannon? Okay, perfect. You used a word that we haven't used so far, concatenate. Has everyone heard of that word before? Concatenating? Okay, basically. Well, I sure hope you've heard it then before, and if not, they missed that class. Okay, so yes, we're concatenating the string. So what's the first thing that we would start with then? Yeah.
Hello, name.
All right. So I would just put hello name.
No.
Okay.
Hello in quotes and space,
Okay.
and then, name, with a plus sign in between,
Okay.
and the plus sign there.
Yeah.
And then in quotes, you are space.
You are space. Now, do you notice I put the space actually just before the Y as well? Because otherwise the name would be right against the space. Now, what we could do is add a comma there as well if we want to be grammatically correct. All right, so then we're going to go plus, and then we are going to say you are, and we determined it to be age calc. Everyone following along so far? Then really straightforward, you just put the quotation marks and then years old. Make sense? Let's run it and see if that works. My computer runs very, very slow. Yep.
It's not showing you.
Not showing you your form anymore.
Oh, you deleted,
Oh, you deleted a, okay, so uncomment though. Remember how I told you to comment out that stuff? Add it in, and I'll bet it works.
push if you want.
What's that?
Push if
Yeah, I know. So does your forms work? Yes? Excellent. I don't understand why this one's running so slow. All right, so it's loading up now. So enter my name, Keith, and we determined I was born in 1990. And there you go. All right, does that make sense? Okay, so what we're going to do, why don't we take a bit of a break now? We've got a lot of stuff still that we got to cover, but it's all review. So the class should go, the next phase of the class should go relatively quickly. So why don't we return back at say 10:15? Okay? You just got back.
Sorry.
So, sorry to understand, so on the project, I have to declare my variables, that's probably what's going wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
That could, well, okay, I say yeah because I haven't seen your code, so you would know what you've missed. But like I say, watch the next coding exercise, and that should make you go, and you'll see why. It's relatively straightforward.
10:15 was like 7.
Oh, okay, we'll make it 10:18. Shannon's negotiated.
I just want to talk to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, because what ended up happening was I just got so frustrated, I just backspaced all my code, and that, like,
It happens.
yeah.
I wish I still had my picture of my keyboard. I've got a $200 Mac keyboard that's warped in the middle because I got so frustrated that I literally started pounding on my keyboard. So it happens. But what's going to happen is there's going to be an aha moment in this semester, or maybe it's next semester, where you go, oh damn, I get it now. I get all the steps that are necessary, and start piecing it together.
Right, because like that even happened with me with HTML and
Yep.
CSS. Because I self-taught myself HTML and CSS.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing happened. It took a while, but for now, I just need to figure out how I'm gonna get these assignments in.
Well, like I say, we'll work with you. Okay, so no, don't worry,
All right, thanks.
no problem.
Sorry, sir.
Yes, sir.
About the assignment.
Yeah.
Did you receive my email or applied?
I don't recall receiving it. Let me just check.
I just submitted about 15 minutes after the deadline and realized it's closed.
Okay. Let's spell your name right.
MOH.
AMMAD.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that's okay. What we'll do is, I'm gonna reopen the assignment, for today, or actually not for today, but for, I'll let you know when I'm reopening it, then you just upload it. No problem. But I've got the archive anyhow, so like you submitted that as well, so.
Okay.
Yeah, like you submitted me the zip format.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's fine.
So like, hello, because there's a comp. The space. Well, let's see.
Okay, so your submit button is labeled one click. So what you did was you double clicked your label rather than double click the button. So if you go there now, where's your label one, that is enter your name, so enter and leave.
As frustration.
Like run the program.
Oh, or.
And then if you double click your, enter your name, label, I'll bet you it runs.
I just had like.
Oh boy. Okay, well, you know what, let me put the code back up, and then you can see where. So if you remember, now up here is the button, so that's where we call the method. And then this is the method that we've written that the button click will call, or in your case, the label.
And you know why this thing,
Yes, I do know why. You're missing something very significant in your method. What do you include all of this within?
oh.
Sometimes it's just a keystroke, and it's like, how are you kidding?
IT help.
Did you delete all of it? Okay, scroll down. Okay, so you have no other curly brackets, you delete them all, so just add them. So add one, it disappears. Okay, so then add another. Now should do it. No, sorry. So that should run now. Yeah. Yours is not running for some reason.
I just did it on my.
Close that out.
The slightest geographic part of the area will change the trajectory or depending the hemisphere that you're sitting in.
That's exactly. I know. Okay, so what if And then the rest of it.
I was like,
You can't, otherwise it's
it's like primarily well, I'll be doing this honestly,
Yes.
That's what I'm sure you are.
See, we waited for you.
Appreciate it.
Now, a couple things, as we're getting settled, a couple things that I've noticed with people's code is when we're writing the code, your first inclination is to get rid of all what you feel are the superfluous right braces. Okay, so what would happen is you'd go, okay, we'll get rid of that one, and we'll get rid of that one. And what does that do? Yeah, okay, yes, it breaks your code. Because what it's doing is it's breaking the enclosure. Now, if you remember, when you're writing the code, if that's your first line, and then this will be the end, right? And then, say, for example, you've got some stuff in there, and then you got that, and so on and so forth. This always has to equal that. This always has to equal that. Otherwise, you're going to break the enclosure. So what will happen is you're going to get this, and your program won't run. So in that situation, if you've got a squiggly line after the brace, real straightforward, you go brace. Okay, good, good. So, oh, okay, so now all I have to do is just add one more in there. And now it likes me again. Okay, so that's how you would solve that problem. So sometimes, though, it's really, really, really important. This is going to sound counterproductive, but to break your code. Because the worst experience I had was I was just going into a business meeting with a client, and I was about to show him this great new website that I created for him. It was, I went into the php.ini file. I manipulated some code just before leaving. I was in a rush, saved it, got to the client's office, opened it up, and I got a white screen of death because I didn't include a semicolon. So I guarantee you now, going forward, the one thing that I check with any of the changes that I make to any PHP, do I have that semicolon? So as you break code, you're going to learn more and more. And the other thing is you're going to be able to detect where the errors are quicker. So rather than going, I don't understand why it's not working, you can look and go, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. And you can actually solve your problems based on what you're seeing. And that okay, so everyone's good with the in-class? Now, I have a lot of coding that I'm going to be, we're going to be working on today. I stared at my watch, it didn't go on. There it goes. Yeah.
I just had a question, like, when I was doing the assignment,
Yep.
when I saved my project, I had like 3 save files. And like, even when I just saved this one right now,
Yep.
I got like 3 saves. My question is like, when I was trying to reopen it and when I sent you my assignment,
Mhm.
I wasn't able to like reopen, like and get the form. I got like all the code, but the form.
So were you opening the solution or were you opening an individual file? .sln?
I think I have like, I don't have an SLN here. I have like a CS.
You should have a .sln somewhere in your directory,
Okay.
and that's the one. Now, how I go about it is I just go into File, Open, and then you find your old file, and it will show you the SLN, and then you just click on that, and it'll open it.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
because when I save on here though, it doesn't give me an SLN, which is weird though.
It goes like
gives
source, it goes into like
CS,
somewhere.
and then it gives me a res X or something like that.
Yeah,
'Cause I
it's
had a little issue when I sent you my assignment. I sent you the 3 files, so I don't know if you're gonna maybe be able to open.
okay.
them.
So because
it's
what
like-
should happen is you should have your solution name there,
Yeah.
and then you'll have .cs, another folder, and then you should have .sln
Okay.
in that directory. Now, if you can't find it, go into your okay. So you click on your solution, and it will show you the path right here in properties up there. So what I did was I clicked on the solution and then go down to path, and that's where you'll find the SLN.
So where's path again?
Okay.
I see like the solution up there. I just oh, path. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where it saves actually. So
That's where your SLN is saving. And so that's what you would reopen when you're going back to your code. All right?
That's what we have to send.
No, you have to send me everything. And again, I think I promised you already today that we're going to solve that problem for you of sending it to me. We're going to solve that problem because if there's time today, here's the plan. We've got another review of building a quick flow chart. Then we're going to have a review, or at least not a review, but more of an exercise on building a speed trap type application. And then if there's time, we're going to go into GitHub. If I feel that there's not enough time, what I'll do is I'll record that portion of the class and put it up there because we're going to start submitting everything via GitHub. All right. And the GitHub is where you'll go, you do a git commit, and then you push it over to your repository online. And I know it sounds like a foreign language, but it really isn't. Once you do the commit, I'll be able to access your code. You no longer have to email it to me or send it via Blackboard once we've got that set up. So that's the plan. So if I can't get to the Git today, if I can't get to Git, anyways, yeah, I'm going to record a video and I'll show you how to set it all up. Okay, and then we'll do a very quick review next week. Has everyone signed up for Git?
No idea.
Okay, you would know if you've signed. Have you signed up for Facebook? Okay, so then you probably, if you have no idea, you've probably not signed up for it.
The app for Windows, Git Bash, that will be.
No, not Git Bash. It's Git-SCM. It's up actually on Blackboard. All right. So I will walk you through all of that, but we'll set you up with an account. We'll set you up on how to configure it all. All right. In the meantime, let's go over to. Okay, now using this is going to be a real quick in class. And again, this is just to get you back thinking because we have no. I know this is going to break your heart, but we have no more breaks from here until the rest of the semester. I know we don't. We no longer go for a week and then take a week off. So I want to get you back into the speed of everything because we've really had a disjointed semester. So create a flow chart to describe someone entering the password. It should include the concept of prompting the user for the password. The flow chart should include the decision whether it's correct or not, and loop if it is not correct. And if the password is correct, it should display success. So go into draw.io and create the flow chart. This should only take about 10 minutes, tops. The decision is then final, so it'll choose.
That works perfectly.
That's exactly.
No problem.
Just a basic password authentication. For those who have forgot their glasses today, I've expanded it. Yes. Yeah. What do you think you've done wrong? Yeah. Overthinking it.
Oh, no, that was for the assignment. I was just looking back, looking at the sheets and stuff.
All right, so are we pretty much good? We can build it as a class now? Yes, excellent. Okay, so what's the first thing that we've got to do? Start. Now, I know this seems tedious, but I guarantee you that in the rest of your classes, you're probably, well, okay, I guarantee you're probably. Anyways, I would assume that the rest of your instructors are going to ask for flowcharts and pseudocode to be written for your assignments. Because it's an intro to programming, this is a significant part of building the process. So I'm going to keep pushing towards it. So we're going to go start. Okay, so what's the next step? Enter password. So what shape do I use? Rectangle?
Would it be, yeah, I put a parallel.
Go to parallelogram. Okay. Everyone good with that one? Everyone in agreement? Okay. And we're just going to put enter password. Now, why did we use a parallelogram versus the rectangle? Data input. Okay. And then what? Sorry? The parallelogram is. Hold on. Let me verify. I don't want to mislead you.
Isn't the rectangle for
Believe, but I want to be 100%. I believe it is, but I just want to be 100%.
I have the guide he gave us.
Yeah.
It says the rectangle for processing and parallelogram is
Input output.
oh, you just got it.
All right. All right. So we enter the password. So then what's the next step? Jenny?
verifying the password is correct?
Okay, which is what shape?
Diamond.
Thank you.
The parallelogram, is that asking?
We're inputting the password.
But did we prompt the user?
Okay, we could technically prompt the user at this point. We're just trying to build a basic one of the back end process. Yes, when we're doing it for an assignment, absolutely put it in there. But for this in class, I'm just trying to get us thinking in the lines of the flow chart again. Okay, so the diamond. And what are we determining? Okay. We've got the decision. Now what do we do? Yeah.
So if it's true, then below it, you can do parallelogram displays.
Okay, so we're doing a parallelogram. Did we not just do that for the input? Why are we doing it for the this output as well? Okay, so we're putting success. All right. So we're good then? No? What are we doing now? We've got to create a false. Okay. So first off, and I swear I've been playing around with the draw.io to get it good in class, but I'm just not a friend of it. All right. Anyhow, you get the arrow.
See something?
Sure, please, because I will not profess that I'm a.
I want to see if it works for your computer. So see if you highlight it, just click it.
All right, there you go. That's easy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wasn't sure if it worked on Mac or not.
Well, it being the superior race, it should, right?
Ask you.
Okay. So we've got that, but now what we've got to do is do the loop. And basically we're just going, tried to do it your way.
No, it has to be another thing beside it, and then you will connect it.
So if
So-
you highlight on that, the triangle, the diamond,
Yeah.
click on the right and it should create one for you. So hover over it and you should see that arrow there.
I see the arrow.
Click on it.
Oh.
It doesn't do it for you.
No, you can see
it's
it's just
just like
outside
that
that
there.
there.
But don't let go when you.
No,
There
it
you
makes
go.
another.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I like that.
There we go. Well, that kind of worked, but not really. We're trying. Okay, so we're going to do it this way. I'm going to go like that, and I'm just going to go, okay. Go bang. I know it's painful watching it, but that's okay. There we go. So basically what we've done is we've created the loop now. So if the password isn't authenticated, we go back and ask for it again. And if it is, we display success. All right, makes sense? Since it took so long for me to create it, I'm going to save that and put it up on Blackboard for posterity for everyone to have a look at. Now, the other thing that we want to do is, because I've noticed that some of you are having a hard time when you're in draw.io, you're sending me the XML file. So what we want to do, and I believe there's an export as, and just export it as a PDF. And then export the file name, and then that'll send it to your download folder. Okay? Easy. Now we're going to get into the fun stuff. All right. All right, so basically what you want to do is you want to create a community safety application. It accepts the speed limit and 4 cars' speeds. Beside each speed, have the words slow driver, safe driver, or speeder appear based on the comparison between the speed limit and the actual speed that you enter. Then calculate the average of the 4 cars, displaying the average in Courier font, and determine whether it's a slow community, safe community, or dangerous community based on the comparison. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the example. I don't want you guys to steal my code. Especially given how slow my computer is, you could write it. I may have to actually invest in a PC, I think, for this class.
Oh no.
No.
I use something else that pretty good
Is-
AWS.
Yeah,
So it just took me a few minutes
I might have to try that.
to launch it, to install Visual Studio. In just few minutes, everything done.
All right, well, we'll,
And it's really faster. I'm looking at other species.
Yeah.
It's really much faster.
well, see that, give a guy who's got an advanced degree in computer sciences and he comes up with a great solution.
No, I just.
No, that's cool, because you were frustrated at the start of the semester.
Yeah.
All right, I've got it up, yep.
Why don't you try one of those micro PC boxes you buy from China?
Well,
It's cheaper.
I think I'm gonna,
They're good too.
I probably will end up going with the Windows just because then I'm on the same platform as most of the people. So here's what you do. So the speed limit, now I didn't put the labels in, but say the speed limit is 55. Then the first car that drives past is clocked at going 54. Second car is 100. Third car is 55. And the last one is 25. Disregard the restart button for now. So basically I press calculate. And now I've got slow driver, speeder, safe driver, slow driver, and the average speed, because it's greater than the posted speed limit, it's a dangerous community. All right? So this should look hauntingly familiar. Does anyone know where this might look familiar from? Yeah, the grade calculator. So drawing from your experience and your frustrations of the grade calculator assignment, implement them here, except using it for a different application. Okay? Straightforward. I'm going to let you guys go to it for a couple minutes and we're going to take it up. All right, I'm going to circulate through the room.
Sir, so you don't need that previous thing you did?
No, this is just in-class exercises to get you guys thinking.
You go back to the
Yeah, just give me 1 second. Yes, sir. Yep. Okay, so you deleted something. Go back to comment outing. Like, did you double? Oh, okay. Try it. Yeah, that's
They're all highlighted.
Just switch it over.
My macro, double click. And they all of it. I think it adds.
Okay, did you want to see that, Matt?
yeah.
Yeah. If you call me in the variable, in the variable.
Red square, yeah, those are errors. That's that one. Okay, so. Learning it before you declare it. So that's not that, yeah. Here, one house. Take some. Because I work a lot, like you were, I work at one of those force. Probably force.
Try.
You know, we didn't go over to do this. As soon as you delete the element, it'll flow there. Okay, so since this is form. And double click on it's going to go. So I'm wondering, start every ball. It's not seen, it's underlining everywhere. So it's created. Oh, it's here. Yeah, it's not. There's two slow drivers. Okay, so once you start, once you set up.
I can't see that either. Really need to get.
Keith? Yeah, where are you? Man?
Yeah, is there two slow drivers? Do you actually use two slow drivers?
Nope.
He listed slow driver twice.
Yep, that's why I would list it.
Over the average.
Yeah, well, no, because the one driver is at 25 and the other driver is at 54.
Oh, okay.
So it's comparing each driver's speed. Okay, that's the speed limit.
Yeah.
So that, okay, so when you're driving, you don't have to go to speed limit, you're only allowed to go 100 kilometers an hour on the form. That's what you enter in there. And then the other text boxes is what the drivers are driving. So say, for example, if you're driving, I'm driving, she's driving. I'm driving 105, but my speed there. 100, you put your speed. You don't have to put a label after the speed limit. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to say about it, so if driver number one is at 54, What am I comparing to make it a slow driver? Exactly. So whatever I enter in that very top box called speed limit, I'm comparing those to the next 4 boxes to that top box. So whatever that variable contains. Okay, that makes sense? Okay. You sure? Yes. Exactly. But you can't hard code in 55 because this code will work if I enter in the speed limit as 100 too. All right? Like. So you can't assume that the speed limit is just 55 kilometers, because if I were to enter in 100, and the first driver is at 101, second driver is at 100, third's at 55, and the next one's at 125. All right, so don't hard code, don't be comparing, for example, car number 4 based on 55. You have to compare it to the variable up at the top of the speed limit.
Hey Keith, where can I find like the classifications of like fast drivers, slow drivers? Like what speed limits are like what would be a slow driver and what would be a fast driver?
Okay, so once again, okay, that was just in the middle of something, just a second.
And then the label tells you whether or not you're safe or not, depending on the value.
Oh, for the love of Pete. Okay, so we know that the posted speed limit is 100. Right? So we're comparing, say for example, driver 4, so can't reach driver 1, 125. Is car number 4 greater than the posted speed limit?
Can I just do like an if structure, like if like speed 1 is less than 50, slow driver is speed 2 is.
Well, not less than 50.
No,
Because as you see, I've got posted 100.
oh, so we put in a different speed. Oh, okay. I see.
But yes, you're on that right path.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
There's an issue here.
Yeah.
And when I click, for example, this one.
You've already entered. Okay, so
Which way there?
click on. Is this your first text box, or is that your first text box?
No, this one's the first. Oh, I guess.
You probably called that. Maybe called that one text box 1.
No. Yeah, and this one's 2.
All right.
But I
But you're
copy
trying
paste
to,
that.
yeah, you're trying to change the name. Oh, so you copy and pasted it.
Yeah.
But that should change the name, because if you click on this one, it
Yeah,
should be
it's
text box
changed.
3.
Because and
Yeah.
each one is different.
So when you try to change it to TX, okay, so TXT.
Even this thing's not working.
So okay, so go TXT car 1. Why is it not down?
Value does not fall within the expected range. And it should be longer.
No, it shouldn't have to be longer. Is mine is,
But it's just close and reopen.
mine is TXT car 1, car 2. What if you're trying TXT car 10, just for argument's sake? I know you wouldn't have accidentally called it that. Or car A.
I don't know.
That doesn't make sense.
That's just. Oh, it's just the changes have not committed.
That doesn't make, I see what you've done there. Like, I don't see why it's not working. All right, you're going to start again then?
Yeah. No choice. Just finishing my thing. Right?
Yeah.
So now I would have to declare the void like we did last time.
Yeah, that's the first step.
So it would be private void calculate.
You can do it that way, yeah. Now, for this assignment, I'm just building it all into the button click. So that you don't have to create a separate method if you don't want to. So you can just build them all into the button click. I would recommend doing the other way, but I've just programmed it this way for now. Yep. Oh, yep. You want the form? The instructions?
Maybe I should get rid of it. Or, oh, I should delete it. Oh, okay.
So we'll leave it first and. All right, there you go.
I think next time I should leave it like this and then press yes. And then it won't.
Yeah.
And it's also giving me every time. I don't know why it makes it. So I'll I don't know if it's gonna be. Maybe it could be better. So. Sometimes it doesn't let me, sometimes it doesn't let me, like every once in a while. Like, a bunch of things.
It's very odd. Once it happens, or if it happens,
It's a similar name, but it's not taken.
yeah, so it's a similar name to your fonts. Because in my solution, I've got TXT R1, TXT R2, so they're all virtually identical in the numerical values. Okay, do you want to walk through this together, or do you want some more time? More time? All right, carry on. Perfect. So you can just copy and paste it. No. Excellent. Yeah, that's the interesting part is that once you've done that. Yes. change the font.
Oh, it's,
Properties. Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to. No. It's an ink class. I think that's what we. Yes. Because you're going to declare the same name. Same variable. So if you change it to the same name too.
You go back to the
Yeah. Just give me a second. Just, it's running, so you've got a bit of time. Back up again. Did you want me to run the program so you can see the output? No. And again, disregard the second button. Just more for demonstration purposes. It's a little because of that almost like RPS is shaking. Other. Okay, so why don't you go back in your phone? What are you trying to change the name?
Like if, oh, no, it's right. That's fine.
But don't forget that we should be changing so it's a little. Up there. Click on. Oh, I see. Okay, so reset. Reset is the button too. No.
No.
Interesting.
It also does that.
Intriguing. Okay, double click on that. Oh no, it's still one. this twist is if you change that the button calculate, like if you change it there, it's probably great.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see if it runs. So, you know, again, something like that is the other story. Yeah, it's not really, so, you know, I would just go back to it and run it as if it's there.
I mean, yeah, it's the same thing, right? Should I rename it to that thing? Okay.
We've already, yeah. Yeah, just change it back to that.
I make one.
You don't have to worry about the reset button. We're not gonna kill that. Is there? Okay. Well, okay. So. So that's just the ones up there. See if you're one.
Yes, we do.
Right, we're less than. Speed. It's then I can output slow down. This through the. That variable, like that would be variable. This is where two. And that's right. So. All right.
So is it 10? Switch to the
Yep.
select. Yes. And the safe driver is the one
Under the speed limit.
under.
Oh, sorry. Safe
Exactly.
driver is exact, yes.
Safe.
Because I have a personal feeling that slow drivers are dangerous drivers, so.
They can be.
Yeah, on the highway,
They can be
absolutely.
way worse.
Yep. Yes. There you go. So? That's not the answer. But, and now you know the change, you're doing way ahead of the exercise. Absolutely. It's out of hope. Until we get to your race, we're gonna be looking for it.
That's okay.
As long as you don't look and go, I don't understand why yours is different than mine, I'll be okay with it. Just give me one quick second.
Yeah, I got it. This is
Yeah. Well, okay, yeah, let's go back up to your calculation. Okay, so you're gonna tell me it's not calculating right now. Okay, okay, have a look at your calculations first off. And think of bedness. Why would your calculation be?
Yeah.
It's just dividing speed 5 by.
So just brackets and stuff.
Yep, that should solve your problem.
This is like the assignment, the problem I was having. I found the SLA now, like that was the assignment, because I had these, like, last of them. But these 3 files of visual, RESX.
Can you make that bigger?
But I found that SLA, are you saying that, but. No.
Okay, if you can go into there for a second. And then click it and make that column bigger. Like just see that little line right there? That'd be your S.
Sometimes, like when I upload it, like when I open it again, like these files, it doesn't show me like the form that I need. So
Yeah.
I was looking online and stuff too, but I was kind of confused because like I'll get this, I guess. I was just having a hard time like trying to save stuff.
Okay, go into file. Project solution.
Oh, yeah.
And then go to whatever one you're having. Oh, nice. Awesome.
And then fill it.
That's your grade center assignment. So if you go into that, place, that's your grade center.
Yeah, I get the code, but I guess when I saved it, like I don't know. I guess it's stored. I don't know. Yeah, I made a form, but now it's all. It's weird. Save every time I go this is what I do. I run the file and I go to save all.
Yeah.
And I just save it to my desktop and then give me like 3 weird looking files like this.
Go to another solution. Actually, double click into your folders, assignment 1 grade.
There's nothing there.
Okay.
So I had like I guess that's that SLN and save. When I saved like the image to your thing, this is heavy. 2, 3 of them like that.
Like I said, the nice thing is once I get to GitHub, that should solve your problem. Like, because then you just go into the file path, and then you just basically commit the file path to your GitHub, and it'll pull everything up for you.
Yeah, because I use like the files.
You won't need files. Well, okay. Well, I guess if you got a right server that will actually monitor your GitHub account for you, it'll actually pull your GitHub every 60 seconds or something. So as you're writing your GitHub, it'll look it up.
I guess tonight I'll maybe try to make a new form, put my code into that form, and see if I can save
Yeah.
it.
Well, okay. Now the nice thing is that you can recreate the form, make sure that all your elements are called the same, and you should be able to copy and paste your method right in. That it worked over here. So.
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
I am just a strong day.
I literally typed. That's a pretty thing.
Okay. You're making it a little too simple. These are strings. Can you divide a string with a string? So you have to basically declare R1 as either integer or as you define the decimal. And we have to convert this dot text to the decimal as well.
Oh my God, you thought about it after.
Okay, again, the infill, it won't even round, it just peaks. So say for example, you're 35.7, They'll just give you 30 bucks. So you want to double the decimal. And then you've got to convert process to decimal. Dot to decimal. Your 10 boxes into parentheses. Yes. It'll take time. Yeah. So every time I go to you, Matt, I throw something. Yeah. Okay, why is it giving you the error? What are you converting? What are you converting to? So you just said convert, it's okay. Okay.
It's pretty much that, but
You want to convert it to decimal.
it's like, yeah, so like instead of like putting A, B, or C, like I got
There
to
you
go
go.
to
It's
C.
no longer unhappy. Okay, why don't we start taking it up? And rather than recreating the code, I'm going to walk you through my code, and then you guys can ask questions as we're going along. Okay? And as I was talking about earlier, for the next couple weeks, you're going to experience what's called code bloat in a big, big way, because there are other solutions. We can implement arrays and things along those lines, but we're not there yet. So there's no point in worrying about it. You're going to see really long code, and that's okay for this class. Okay. All right. So, what's the first thing that we want to do when we've got this form? We've got this project. Okay, assuming that we've got the pseudocode down, assuming that we've got the flow chart created, what's the first element that we need to consider? The speed limit, okay. Now, I was thinking what you should always drop in first is your actionable item. So that way it's there, that's going to be your method, or at least your initial call to a method. So drop the button in, but yes, you got to consider the speed limit, because the speed limit isn't hard coded. It's a variable. So now we've got to declare that as a variable. What's the next thing then? We've got to drop all 4 cars in there. And now, do we declare them as strings, the speeds? No? What will we declare them as? Integer?
Or yeah, decimal.
Decimal. What's the problem with declaring it as an integer?
The average thing, that might be a problem.
Yeah, because when we're calculating or doing, anytime that you're doing division, it doesn't always work out this way. Like if you're dividing 36 by 6, it works beautifully. But anytime that you're dividing, always try to use a decimal or a double. And the reason is because integers don't even round. They just ignore what's after the decimal. So if you've got 36.9, logically it should be 37. But if you declare it as an integer, it's saying 36. So you're really going to be incorrect, and which typically doesn't matter that much. But if you're doing something for a bank, for example, where it's down to the thousandth of a penny because of the frequency that you're doing it, you could cost a bank a ton of money. Okay, so we've declared we've set up the text boxes for each car, and we've declared them as decimals or doubles. So what's next then? What will we have to do? Now we have to start thinking logically. What do we need to do next? If statements. Create the logic statements. So what would be a generic if statement then that we could implement for this?
Speed 2 is greater than speed 1.
Okay, so if speed 2 is greater than speed limit, then whatever the outcome is. Right, because that's what we are. We're all fast drivers. So, okay, so, but some of us are slow. Anyhow, so that's the next step. Now, what is the next step that we have to do as well? So we've determined now that the speed limit, we've got that each car is going X number of kilometers an hour, and whether or not they're speeders or slow. What's the next step that we'd have to create? Average. Okay, so, and we're remembering BEDMAS. Is a couple of you tripped up on the BEDMAS. And if you've got car 1 plus car 2 plus car 3 plus car 4 divided by 4, what will happen in BEDMAS is it will divide car 4 by 4 and then add the rest of them. So you have to remember BEDMAS in there. So enclose everything in parentheses and then divide by 4. Okay, and then we've got one more logic issue, which is what? Exactly. So now are you starting to see the similarities between what we've done in class and what we're doing here, or in class and what we've done in the assignment? We've got the speed, and we're outputting a label, whether that be the speed and it's a slow driver, or 75 and it's a beat. There's additional steps as well. And everyone was okay with changing the average speed to courier? Remember how to do that? Okay. So what I did when I set up this code was for expediency, and because we weren't there yet, I've just included it in the button click method. Is there another way that we can do it? What's the other way? Did you say yes? So set up another method. So, and then on the button click, you can call that method. I didn't do that just because, like I said, I'm more interested in showing you the code aspect of it rather than setting it all up. But yes, absolutely. And this could be part of the lab. I'm not sure 100% yet of breaking it down into the methods. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. Is everyone following along our logic? Pretty straightforward. Did everyone solve the solution or no? Where did we trip up?
I tried some. I solved it for once, but it was a very long code.
Yeah.
I changed it, but the thing is, I can't store variables, not the amount, the variable itself, to shorten the code inside the array or something like that, or
Yeah.
list. But I don't know how.
Okay, so you're putting it into an array, which is logical.
Yeah, because it would be much less code, but
Yeah.
I can do it.
Right. And
I have to store the value, the amount of the variable.
unfortunately, like I was just saying, that this code is going to be, you're going to have code bloat for the next couple of weeks until we get into arrays, and then we can revisit this and shorten the code dramatically using the arrays. So, okay, so that was one challenge. Okay. Any other challenges that people got tripped up on?
One more challenge.
Sure.
Is there any chance that we could combine that text box to the label? You know what I mean? for example, when we are working on that text box value,
Yeah,
so we just say that.
so it automatically updates?
Yeah,
You can, but I wanted to show you, okay, one of the challenges was, and why I've implemented this one, is because there was a lot of people saying it was over, you asked us to do something on this assignment that we didn't do in class. So I wanted to give a basic one just so everyone could go, oh, okay, I see what's going on now. And if they had a problem with the assignment, they could have gone back. So yes, there are ways, and we will get into them later in the semester, but not right now. Okay? So, okay, so let's go into the code. Now, the first thing that I did, like I say, what I could have done, oh, my computer. What I could have done was on the button click, call a method, and I could have done the calculate method. And then basically enclosed all of this into a method. I did, and I just included it in the button click, which is fine right now. Now, we might have a situation where you might be asked to take these and call 4 different methods on the button click, or 5 different methods, because there's 5 different things that we're doing right now. So what I've done though is, for now, the button click, I've declared, and now is everybody declaring your variables in lists like this, or are you doing them separately? You're okay with that? Yeah, everyone's seen this? So right here, so rather than having to write out double car 2, double car 3, they're all doubles. So I've just basically declared them all in the same line, making it easier and less code.
On the assignment that you call the car is one of your display areas or your text boxes?
The car is actually,
So it's your text.
so text car is car 1.
That's what I was amazing.
Yes, absolutely. So my text box, car 1, is equal, once I've converted it to double, to car 1. And I've declared everything
That
else.
way, just to make it simpler, when you want to, so car 1 will include text box and the label.
Yep.
You don't have
Well, it doesn't include the label.
Oh, it doesn't.
This is just the value that we've entered into the text box, and we've just dropped that value into the car 4 variable. Okay.
He's getting the text, he's converting to.
And then down here, it's straightforward because I've declared average as well as a double. So now I don't have to go double average equals. I can just go average equals car 1 plus car 2, etc. Okay. So we've done that. So basically, that's calculating the average of the cars. And then now what I wanted to do, just to make it easy and keeping everything together, is now I've converted the average speed to a string. So I've taken the average that I calculated and converted that to string. I'll draw on that later. Okay, does that make sense? So I'm just kind of keeping my elements together. Then the next thing that I want to do is the label average speed. That's the big one that I've got off to the side. I just called it label average speed. So that is equal to that string. So now that's the easy part. Actually, it's all straightforward because I'm going to do something that a lot of people will tell you not to do. I'm going to show you something, and I'm sure that I'm going to hear Scott wince in pain as soon as I say it. Okay, so here's the if statement. So you have if car 1 is equal to speed limit, basically set the label car 1 text to safe driver. If it's less than, set it to slow driver. If it's greater than, set it to speeder. That's easy. So now, this is what you shouldn't do, and I'm going to ask you why in a second. All you have to do, or all I did, was I copied it and pasted it, and then changed it from car 1 to car 2. Why is that not such a good idea at times? There's a situation, yeah.
You might miss one.
You might miss one, absolutely. Or there's an error in your original code. And now you've got the error right through the entire code. It might not show, like, say for example, if it's calling on a label that you haven't declared, it would highlight it and it would give you the red squiggly line. But if it's a calculation error or a logic error, it's not going to show there's a problem until you run it. So, yeah. You took the words right out of my mouth. So absolutely. So you can do iterative testing. So basically set up the first text box and run the test. If that works, then you know it's safe to copy and paste it all the way down. And then all you have to do is change it. So that's all I've done is all the way down. I've just basically written the same code. And then I've done the same code for the average speed. So basically I'm just saying whether or not I'm taking the average, and if it's equal to the speed limit, then it's safe community. I'll post this up on oh, he's taking pictures of it. Okay, so I will post this code up. I'm probably going to post it up onto GitHub because I'm going to start getting you guys thinking about that. So that's how I did it. And then we output it. Oh, that's my restart. So does everyone understand that so far? Does that make sense? Is it straightforward? Did everyone follow it this way for the assignment, or did they do it differently? Right? Separate functions? Okay. Like separate methods?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Your average, like, I saw that you did, like, yes, like, this way. So I just put the averages, the average speed, like the speed divided by 4. Yeah. And then instead of, like, putting that through the string, I just did the label and average speed dot to string. Yeah. So would you rather do it that way or shorter way or
I'm always a short code. Okay, and that's what I preface this at the start by saying it's code load. I recognize it. It's a lot of unnecessary coding, and as we're going along in the semester, we're going to make the code shorter and shorter and shorter. But I want you to start using the if statements more.
else if? I should stay if.
Yeah, you can do an else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just did an if.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so did anyone else do the assignment differently? No? Yeah?
Well, like, I was having a hard time with, like, the C#. So I did, I did Visual Basic.
Okay.
Like, to make my form. And then I was doing, like, pretty much the same thing there, but I was doing, like, just if and then statements.
Okay.
Just because I didn't really understand the else statement, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think what confuses me is those little, like, separators.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the word is for.
You're talking the braces?
Yeah, the braces. Like, I don't know, just like Visual Basic, it was just so much easier just to put like if, then, and all the like those ones were easier to like write rather than like just writing it in the C sharp or whatever. It's like I was having a hard time like with the else statements and all that stuff. I don't know, I was having a hard time, but I put it all in Visual Basic and I pretty much wrote like grade if grade is like.
So will I see a solution or will I see a VBA or a VB?
I think it is a VB. I think it, like I was trying to download it as like a solution.
Okay. All right. In that situation, I would highly recommend reach out to me. Okay, and just say, hey, you know what? I'm having a hard time. I'd rather you code in C# because that's what the course is. So I would rather us go to the basics like this, and I can walk you through and go, okay, this is what I've done step by step, than using the wrong coding language. Not the wrong, but.
Well, yeah, I just didn't understand like all those braces and stuff. So with the Visual Basic, it just let me like not really at all.
So what have we learned about braces today then?
I guess that like it works as like it like divides the code.
Yeah.
Pretty much, and then it just makes it so it doesn't all run the same thing. I guess.
You're a web coder, right?
Me?
Yeah. Or you want to be? You're in the web design program. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to steal Scott's thunder a little bit. Has he already brought in his boxes? No? Okay. So basically, code is like this, right? So you've got the one parentheses, or not parentheses, brace, and there. And so on and so forth. So the braces are basically enclosing the code in this box. That's all you have to think of it as. So, and if you, that's why I was saying earlier today was if you delete some of those braces, you're going to have broken boxes and it's not enclosing anything at that point. So if you think of it this way, where you've got the old Russian dolls where you got the doll and the doll and the doll and the doll, and that's basically what we're creating. Okay.
So when you use an if and then statement in Visual Basic,
Yeah.
that's the same. Like, is the then else? Is in C#? I was
No.
looking at a tutorial and I was trying to use then.
No.
It wouldn't let me use then.
Because the if then statement. So if.
So I was looking at something that said if then and else. So
Okay.
I could put then, but it wasn't.
So this is the if, and in VB that would be the if then. So if this is greater than this.
So it's just don't put then.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, you can close it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a little bit easier. I think I could probably redo it then. Just put it.
Okay. Are there any other questions? We're going to wrap up 20 minutes early because I had probably about 45 minutes worth of GIT Hub demonstration, and I don't want to rush you through that part. So I'm going to create a video, and I'm hoping that everyone, like, over the next, by Friday, I'm hoping to have the video. And then over the weekend, make sure that you set up your GIT Hub accounts. Disregard if actually I haven't posted that yet, the lab. But what we're going to do is I will post the lab this week. So please watch your Blackboard, okay? Because I want to make it so that it's tied into GitHub. Okay.
GitHub, personal email or
School. Okay, so part of the thing that you're going to want to do is when you're signing up for GitHub, sign up as a student. Education, I think it's education.github.com. The reason for it is you get a bunch of free stuff. And if you're going to get something free, you might as well take advantage of it. Okay, it's all on Blackboard though, but I will create the video and then I'll put the lab up there. All right? A lot of stuff done today. Thanks, guys. Yeah, just give me one quick second.